go. Train high. Where go?
Gentlemen, this school is about combat. There are no points for second place.
This is the Never Down, Never Out podcast with your host, T.R. Matson.
All right, welcome back. Never Down, Never Out. Whew, I jinxed myself on the last one. So for the people that don't know, I try to get some of these recordings done in a row just to maximize my time, my thoughts, and all that. And on episode 107, I was bragging about how quiet the house was. And when I went to go upload the video, all chaos broke loose. And not with my family, but when you're in the airlines, well, maybe you don't. I don't know. I naturally, I guess, mentor a couple people, or they reach out to me if they have questions. And this FO reached out to me. They had a question about a situation they were dealing with. That was kind of not an emergency, like nobody's going to die, but just a situation. So I'm like, okay, let me deal with this. And we're back. So episode 108, hopefully I could focus my thoughts. I'll check that box of helping a person for the day, and we will move on with this episode, which today is about strength built in silent battles. I've talked about this on small and big scale things in my life, right? So the big scale thing, the story that I've told multiple times is the air sickness issue, right? I felt very alone in that. The instructors really didn't have a lot of help. They gave the standard, well, you could try the wristbands, eat ginger snaps, all this stuff that whatever. Most of it, I think, is more psychological than it is actually anything else. But that was about it. And my classmates, and I don't blame them. When somebody's struggling in flight school, openly struggling with whatever it is they're struggling with, it is very difficult to want to align yourself with them for fear that you will take some of the heat. And I saw this as an instructor too. There'd be students that, were struggling academically or performance-wise, not even airsick. And, in the wrong class of students, they would get kind of pushed aside. And, as instructors, we would keep an eye out for that, because flight school in the Navy is not meant to be, you're not meant to be a man or a woman on an island. Like, it's supposed to be a cooperate to graduate group effort. You're building a lot of your leadership qualities and your team qualities that you're going to need in the fleet. So we would always try to keep an eye out for that. So that's the big one, right? I mean, and I struggled through that air sickness for a long time alone. But in the end, ultimately, it created strength in my mind to be able to handle it. And when I went for that check ride, the now infamous check ride that I've talked about so many times, where I threw up upside down while flying the airplane, never giving up controls while an instructor sat a few inches to my right, staring at me. I had the strength to do that because I had built that strength through all of the battles I had gone through. I had formulated a plan. I had, we call it chair flying in the military, and you've seen it, the performance teams, there's videos of the Blue Angels and the Thunderbirds doing this as part of their briefing. I did a similar thing on how I was going to attempt to throw up without giving up the controls. Now, I never intended to do it upside down. That was but that's when it hit me. So, we don't get to choose our battles sometimes. But that is a big example of, building strength in those silent battles. But let's talk about a much, much smaller everyday example, right? Because those big examples are fantastic and they make really funny stories, and they have a lot of clickability, but how many people that are listening to this video have ever been upside down throwing up in an airplane? Probably very few. So does it really apply? Not as much. Let's talk about the machine that I love to hate or hate to love, is that rowing machine in the garage. I will tell you today, when I'm done here, I'm going to go lift and I'm going to go row 10,000 meters. And I am not looking forward to that. Why? Because I go to a place in my mind when I have a long row like that where it is a silent battle to keep going. I'm physically not moving anywhere. It's going to be hot out. It's going to be miserable. My legs are going to hurt. My shoulders are going to hurt. My hands are going to hurt. Everything's going to feel horrible. And everything in my mind is going to tell me to quit. But I have to continue going for that 10K. I have to. That's just inevitable. But that is where you build strength. You build the resiliency in your mind to handle those things and to gut it out and to go to a dark place and to just get through things in those silent battles. You truly do. And they don't all have to be the greatest battle of the war. Sometimes it's the tiniest little things like a 10K row, or if you're trying to diet, opening the fridge and not snacking, or walking past the refrigerator, or driving past the fast food place if that's your crutch. Whatever. If you're trying to stop drinking, not going to the bar or not giving in to your friends when they call. All these things are silent battles, but that is where we gain our strength to go on to the much bigger things. And it goes back to the idea of owning the space between our ears. If we can own our mind, we really have the ability to do anything. We truly do. But owning your mind is very difficult. It is so easy to let people live there rent-free. And we can't do that. We have to keep pushing repeatedly to continue to own that space. That's not an easy thing to do. And when we're alone and we don't have anybody to fall back on, it can get very, very lonely. And it gets hard. I mean, it's not easy. If you're in that space right now, I get it. I've been there. It's tough. Know that it's in that space that you are building strength that will serve you well in the future. It's the little wins. It's stacking the little wins and continuing to build that resiliency. You're going to need it one day. And right now you're looking at things and it could be as simple as passing the fast food place or doing the row or whatever. But you're callousing your mind. You're making yourself a harder individual to influence in a negative light. And you're going to need that in the future. There's a bigger battle coming that if you can build that strength today and every day in little doses, when that big battle comes, you will be battle ready. I truly believe that. I've seen it in my own life. I've seen it in the lives of people around me. And that doesn't make it any less difficult in the moment. But it's no less important. And I think if we can understand that in all those silent little battles that we're going through all day, we're actually making gains. We're actually building that resiliency and building that strength. If we understand that, then I think that helps us get through the battle. It makes the time on the rower a little easier. It makes passing the refrigerator a little bit easier. So remember, not everything has to be a huge getting over air sickness in flight school type battle that you're dealing with alone. It's the dozens of things every day that we face. If you can handle those, that is the measure of being a better person today than you were yesterday. And additionally, working for a better person tomorrow than you are today. That's what I think. Sorry if it felt a little disjointed today. That was the message I wanted to get out before the phone call came. That's real. That's who I am. You're seeing it real time. I'm not going to sugarcoat it here, right? I said on episode 1, And it's no different on episode 108. Like, I'm authentic, I'm who I am. It's unpolished and it's raw. So life came at me today, threw me for a loop, was able to help somebody, and now we're back. So I appreciate you tuning in. I appreciate all the support as always. It truly is amazing. You know, we're well into April now, almost May at this point, and we're building some momentum somewhere. I could feel it. So hopefully it's helping you, and I appreciate you tuning in. I'll see you tomorrow.
T.R. Matson is a 20-year Navy career combat veteran who flew the E-2C Hawkeye and F/A-18C Hornet. He's the author of Treason Flight and Vengeance Flight. You can reach him at trmatson or trmatson.com. Thanks for listening to the Never Down, Never Out podcast.